Hello everyone, this is David Goldberg again. This is probably going to be one of my most important videos that I've done yet. We're going to discuss a couple of things, new things that have come up. I have received classified documents from my White House insider, and we also have some memos that I've referenced in the past, and I'm going to walk through everything that I've been deciphering and learning from these videos. From the documents that I've received. So, we'll get into this. The crux of it, I want to just introduce you right away. What is it all about? This is it. This is what the documents reveal. There are too many people waking up. There are too many Americans, more and more of them, that are suspicious of Israel. More and more Americans aware of Zionism. This has been around for decades and decades. You go back to the 50s, 60s, there's a lot of literature about Zionism, about Judaism. It's not unusual, but the difference is today, more and more people are waking up to it. It's been a real tipping point where you always had maybe about 0.5% of the population that was aware of Zionism, that did not like Jews and whatnot, but they were never part of the mainstream. They were always dismissed as conspiracy theorists. They had no influence. So they were not really a threat. But that has changed. And you know that has changed. Anyone paying attention knows that has changed. We have seen a big change in comment sections on YouTube, many people making references to Zionism. It has become a part of the nomenclature through the influence of 8chan, 4chan, many websites, and ultimately many YouTube channels that have been speaking the truth very aggressively for many years, but it has really gotten attention lately. It is somewhat of a cumulative effect, a snowball effect, where more and more people start to wake up to the truth and the facts, and it just expands. And people become more accepting of it. And they start to say, okay, it's okay for me to look at the information. I'm not an anti-Semite for looking at it. And it really starts to click for people. So this has been a big change in the recent past few years. What happened is that Israel, its agents, its propagandists, have been paying very close attention to this over the past few years. They know this is happening. They are very concerned about it. We are talking about 0.5% of Americans who have some idea of Zionism and they're against it and they understand it. That number, according to these documents, is now about, I saw two numbers. They said 15%, and another one said 7%, but that is a very large number of Americans that have woken up to what's going on with Israel and Zionism and the Israeli lobby and the influence. They're unafraid to hate Israel. That number is very high, and it has them very concerned. This is much of what the classified documents talk about, but we'll get into that more. I wanted to set it up for you so you actually understand what this is really about. What I was given from the White House insider. The main part that you really need to know, though, is they have a plan for all of this. So I'm going to talk about that now. There is discussion within these documents years ago to ban the YouTube channels, to shut it down, all of that. But they changed course. They made a decision to do something completely different. And they decided, instead of censoring everything, to fund and promote gatekeeper channels, shill channels to simply gather and collect all the open-minded people who are looking at the issue. And they did shut down some of the legitimate channels, and that has actually happened. If you're following some of that, you are aware that there have been channels that have been shut down, almost completely eliminated. Some of those channels were not a part of the original Gatekeeper channels. They have no connection. They are truth-telling channels. Some of those they eliminated, that they felt were a threat or that might be calling out the Gatekeeper channels. So, I'm just looking through some of the documents here and seeing what I want to talk about next. One really interesting aspect of all this is that the Gatekeeper channels and the shill channels, typically these would be disinfo channels. Disinfo channels like Alex Jones, for example, has been a long time disinfo Zionist channel. Very, very active in deflecting people away from Zionism. Alex Jones talks about everything, but he never talks about Israel. So that is an active disinfo channel that's been around forever. What they created with these new Gatekeeper channels is very truthful channels. They're very honest. They don't put out a lot of disinfo. They are actually legitimate. And that is done to give them credibility among these people who are awake, who are waking up. That was very specifically done, the documents to talk about that. Now I'm going to talk about what is the purpose of the whole operation, and the purpose of this is to put out truthful channels, to attract people to them. They call it tag, track, and ID. It is a term used throughout the documents, TTID. It's something you want to remember. This is very common throughout these documents. They're referred to it all the time. So what does that tell you? They want to tag, they want to track you, and they want to identify who you are. If you are watching these channels, if you are informed, if you are awake on these issues, they want to tag you, they want to track you, and they want to know exactly who you are. They want to know, and it talks about the tracking people's IP addresses through YouTube. They have access to YouTube. They do know who you are. So this is discussed a lot in the documents. I'm just looking through it right now. And there are two projects, and it's very important to listen to this. Project Pogo is one of them, and Project Zyphr. I will spell that one. ZYPH.
Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to start off with giving all praises and honor and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. I'm going to give double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who do well. Peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. Alright, Yahweh, been the name who the world in calls God. Yahweh Shai been the name who the world in calls Jesus. Alright, those are the true biblical names of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, who you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans should be calling on within these last days in the hope of salvation. Alright, and this is something I was tapping into, Project Zyphr. Alright, going to how these Edomites, within a FF events, how they're going to come down with great wrath to basically, roughly paraphrasing, ravel up those truthers or those who have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Right, and this is all the part of prophecy, and this is going to bring in the famine of the word. All right, just to make it a quick lesson, because I don't have much time due to my phone battery. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord and shall not find it. All right. These are the things that we coming into, right? Famine of the word, because these devils are coming down with great wrath. According to Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. All right. It reads, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he have but a short time. And Esau, Edom, which is the physical counterpart of the devil, all right, he knows that he has but a short time. His time of rulership of the earth is coming to an end, so he's going to come down with great wrath. All right, when you read this, the whole Revelation church, the 12th chapter with understanding, right, you can see even in verse 13 it says how, and it says, and when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. The man child go to Yahweh Shai. All right, and it says, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she was nourished for a time and half a times from the face of the serpent. And that's going to where we were nourished over here into America. All right. Just want to get to the point. Verse 17, it says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman who went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of the Most High and had testimony of Yahweh Shah Mashiach. So that's what these devils are really getting into with these different projects. You know, specifically this one, project
R. Project Pogo and Project Zyphr are
Zyphr. I don't know how
the
to
2
pronounce it.
projects.
Just rewind a video. You could go on TikTok or different platforms to research this. But Project Zyphr, when the lights go out and basically they attack those who are against the system.
Hello everyone, this is David
All right,
Goldberg
and try to
again.
implement them into
This is probably
these
going to
different
be one of my
concentration
most
camps
important
and things of
videos
that
that
nature.
I've done yet.
And that's why Revelations chapter 2 and 10, I believe, or maybe 3 and 10. Let's see. Yep, Revelations 2 and 10 says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall be and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Right? So if we are, whichever one of us, we don't know, according to our lot, whichever one of us are to be captured into, prison, these concentration camps, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai. All right. Hey, we're going to have tribulation for 10 days, which is not specifically 10 days. It's just a period amount of time. But the Lord said, be faithful unto death, and he will give thee a crown of life. All right. Because we know this is all due to prophecy. All right. The scripture saying, Revelations 19 and 10, the testimony of Yahweh Shah is the spirit of prophecy. And these devils know that they have but a short time, so they're going to come down with great wrath. That's why the scriptures speak about how they shall be mad men, sparing none. Okay? So, let's see. I think, that's all I had, just going to, just a quick little hit. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. I'm going to try to get this uploaded before the phone dies. It says, lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. As part of his devices, these different projects and things that he has set in order to fulfill his NWO. But we know the scriptures speak about in Job how when he shall begin to fill his belly, the Lord shall, roughly paraphrasing, you know, uh, 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 um, basically, matter of fact, let me get it real quick, because I don't want to butcher it. This is Job chapter 20. This is Job chapter 20, verse 23. It says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. All right. So why does devil think he's going to get his new world order up and propagated? The Lord is going to, cast fury upon him. Like, bro, you ain't just going to get this thing started. You just doing the will of the Lord, right? Because you is not about to reign or about to receive the blessing that was promised unto Jacob. Okay. So it's these different scenarios and these different projects that, this devil has in place to, basically, that, coincide with prophecy, as I should say. So this is quick hit, Lord willing, it was edifying, straight to the point. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Wakakadash. Again, double honors to the apostle and elders of the great millstone who do well. Peace and blessings to the house of David elect. Shalom.